Pride Monday. Cozy was 12-12 in 2 seasons, including 5-7 this year. Gotta give a shout out to my alma mater, Illinois State University. The football team is coming to California this weekend to play UC Davis Saturday in the quarterfinals of the Division I AA playoffs. We're coming to Cali after knocking off the number 1 team in the nation, undefeated North Dakota State, 29-28. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Celebrate the soul of the holidays and support Altadena and Pasadena. Join us on Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, a joyful night of Motor City soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalist, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This performance comes at a pivotal time for many in Altadena and Pasadena. This is their first holiday season since the devastating Altadena Eden Canyon fire, which destroyed homes and community spaces. While the physical losses are immense, the power of community remains, and your attendance directly supports recovery, resilience, and renewal. So, be sure to join us Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, benefiting survivors of the Altadena Eden Canyon fire. For ticket information, just log on to tickets@thewallace.org. That's tickets@thewallace.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580 and the Black Freedom Fund.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me. Back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations. Up first, George Mason's Dr. Michael Fontroy on how Trump's hateful rhetoric has totally flipped the conversation on race in America. He'll explain. On the B side of our tour, a conversation with Donna Beisel of the Rosa Parks Museum at Troy University on a new exhibit about the mother of the civil rights movement. In our third hour, in hour 3, a conversation with the principal conductor of the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, Thomas Wilkins, who will preview the upcoming Deck the Halls holiday concert series at the Walt Disney Concert Hall in celebration of Duke Ellington, the Nutcracker, and Carlos Simon's 4 Black American dances. I should mention that the world-renowned architect who designed the iconic Disney Hall, Frank Gehry, passed away last week at age 96. He also did the Guggenheim in Bilbao, some amazing structures around the world that came out of the mind of Frank Gehry. Again, he passed away last week at age 96 after a brief respiratory illness. So we will offer a brief tribute to my dearly departed friend, Frank Gehry, when we are joined by the maestro, Thomas Wilkins, in our final hour today. But in this first hour, let's talk politics and more with the former chair of the DNC, Jaime Harrison, now host of his own YouTube show and podcast. Jaime Harrison, good to have you at my table. His program is called At Our Table. Glad to have him at my table. How are you, Jaime?
I'm doing well, Tavis. Thank you so much, brother. It's always great to be on with you.
It's good to hear your voice and glad to have you on. I want to talk about your YouTube show and your podcast and a bunch of other stuff, of course, as we move through this hour. But let me just do this. Jaime and I have been friends for a long time, so he knows that there is no animus behind these questions. I want to ask 3 or 4 tough questions at the top, get them out of the way, and we can roll through some other stuff about Donald Trump. We'll get to Trump, and there's a whole lot of time to do that. I want to just start with a sort of post-mortem. I know you've done this 1,000 times in private spaces, but in this public space, I want to just ask 3 or 4 questions, if I can, about, again, what happened, this sort of post-mortem now a year later. So I guess the first question, and these are questions that we have talked about, ad nauseum, ad infinitum on this program. We all saw the news the other day that post your chairmanship, the DNC had to borrow $15 million the other day just to make payroll and to cover expenses. $15 million they borrowed. That's after bragging during your tenure about having raised a record-setting $1 billion plus. I asked very simply and forthrightly, what happened to all that money?
Well, they spent it, Tavis. I'm happy to say this. When I left the DNC, I think we had at least almost $20 million in the bank, in the DNC, because one of the things that, as a black man, I didn't want anybody to say I spent all the money and I left them broke. But to Ken Martin's credit, one of the things that I know he really wanted to do was increase the amount of money that was being sent to state parties. We significantly, during my 4 years, increased that to go back to that Howard Dean 50-state strategy. And,
sure.
I would say, that investment was well worth it because we had the best midterms for an incumbent president since the 1930s. And even despite not winning the presidential in 2024, we were able to still secure and keep many of our Senate seats and our governor seats in the battleground states. And so that those resources on the ground were very helpful. So Ken has doubled down on that, and he's actually increased that. So now a state in a red state, say a South Carolina, or Louisiana, or Mississippi, is now receiving about $22,500 a month from the DNC. Tavis, just to give you the context, when I became a state party chair back in 2013, 14, state parties were getting $2,500 a month. So that's almost a $20,000 increase. And Ken also wanted to double down in Virginia and New Jersey in those races to make sure that we were victorious. And so, you get less money coming in after a presidential, but you're spending a lot more because he needed to make a statement about the Democratic Party winning again. And so, you never want to take out a line of credit, but that's a line that was well worth it because in the end of the day, we were victorious on the other side.
We'll talk about those victories when we come forward. Glad I've got Jaime Harrison for the hour. I agree with him. As Tip O'Neill said many years ago, that all politics are local. So I get Ken Martin's strategy to get as much money as he could to those states and to those municipalities so the Democrats could have the kind of showing they had a few weeks ago when they won in states all across the country, in New Jersey and Virginia. Here in California, we passed Prop 50. So I ain't mad at the strategy of getting money to localities. But it still begs the question, if you're borrowing $15 million, why you can't raise no money? And that's where we're going to start when we come forward. Why can't Democrats in this moment raise money? We'll start there and jump from there with Jaime Harrison, now host of his own YouTube show and podcast called At Our Table. You're listening to him at my table right now on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Nugget Bells, Nuggets all the way.
Hi, I'm Kylie.
I'm John.
And I'm Garrison.
And a little thing we love about the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets
is sharing them when we cut down the Christmas tree.
We will pack the car with gifts. And of course, we go and pick up our family's favorite nuggets.
Every nugget is tasty times quadrillion.
And we get all the sides.
Yeah, the ooey gooey mac and cheese is a big hit.
Share the nuggets, share the joy. Order the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, the former chair of the DNC. Jaime Harrison, now host of his own YouTube show and podcast called At Our Table. Delighted to have him on this program today to kick us off in hour one. So in case you've just tuned in, my first question was, just doing a bit of a postmortem here with the former chair. What happened to that $1 billion Democrats raised when Kamala Harris got the baton passed to her from Joe Biden? Why are Democrats just a week or two ago having to borrow $15 million? Jaime says it's a good investment. I don't disagree on that. Jaime says that all politics are local. I don't disagree with that. But it does raise the question as to why, even on this side of the successes that Democrats had some weeks ago, and maybe you know more than I do, indeed you do, about this kind of stuff, Democrats seem to be still having a difficult time raising money, which suggests to me, I saw on this program a few days ago, Jaime, that it may very well be between now and the midterms that the people save the party rather than the party saving the people. I don't need to tell you this stuff you talk about on your program. You know this as well as anybody, that there are a lot of people, a lot of Democrats who are just not feeling Democratic Party leadership, just feeling just sort of disenfranchised by the way the party has been moving over the last number of months. But that doesn't mean they don't. That doesn't mean that they can abide Donald Trump. So they're not altogether happy with the DNC, Democratic Party, but they can't stand Donald Trump more. And so they showed up, as you mentioned, to vote. and send a message to Donald Trump and those Republicans. But it may be, again, the people saving the party, not the party saving the people. I'm raising questions here about the faith that Democrats have in the party apparatus, the party structure right now, which, again, leads me back to why, maybe that's one of the reasons why they can't raise any money right now. But you tell me what I'm missing here.
Well, part of it, Tavis, actually the grassroots fundraising for the Democratic Party has been pretty solid and consistent over the last year. And actually it's the thing that has sustained the DNC over the course of the year. The big problem has been in terms of large dollar fundraising. The large donors who have traditionally been able to give, to write a $100,000 check or a $250,000 check, they just have not. And so it really has been that energy on the grassroots side that you see in the streets has actually been the energy that has sustained the DNC. They would have been getting a larger line of credit but for that. It's the large donors who have not written the checks and have been sitting on their hands. And the hope is that those folks will catch up with some of the folks on the grassroots side to understand what's at stake as we move into 2026.
And why
we need the resources.
Yeah, and speaking of resources, why has that big? I didn't mean to step on you. I apologize, Jamie. Why has that big money dried up?
I think partly because they were frustrated coming off of the 2024 race. They saw all of the money. They wrote all of the big checks. And then, we didn't get the result that we wanted in terms of the presidential race. Right. And so many of those folks have been sitting on their hands to see what is going to be next in the Democratic Party. The thought was coming off of the big elections in November, you get some warm up there. I've talked with some of the staff, and they said that some of those conversations are starting to warm up. And I think as the calendar changes from 25 to 26, I think many of those people will do so. Tavis, if you take a look historically at what happens in terms of fundraising in the party committees after a presidential election loss, it is actually not that far off. I remember, after the 2016 race, I went into the DNC as Tom Perez's associate chair of the DNC. And I remember we had to also get a line of credit during that time as well. Because, again, fundraising falls off from large donors. You're sustained by grassroots, but you got big races coming up. And then we saw what happened in 2018. The donors came back. Grassroots was fired up. We flipped 41 seats in the House of Representatives and took back the House. And I think very similar will happen again as we go into 2026.
So this is inside baseball, but again, it's one of the last few questions I have about this postmortem. It's inside baseball, but it matters to people who care about the money. When you start to drill down into this, there's been commentary and articles, again, all kinds of postmortem done about what happened last November, and we are told, in reference rather to my first question, what happened to all that money? We're told that a lot of that money, a whole lot of it, went to consultants. Now, I've been in the media space, as you know, for my entire career, 30 plus years in this media space, and this ain't my first rodeo. So I can tell you, this won't surprise you, that so many of us in the black media, never mind the fact that black people are the most loyal base in the Democratic Party, the black media has to beg at the trough every election cycle for money to be spent on black media, on black radio. This ain't, again, my first rodeo. I've done this any number of times. So I see the way we have to beg for money, even though we make up the most loyal base, again, of the party. But we ain't making and when that money does start to come, when it gets unconstipated and starts to flow our way just a little bit, it's nothing compared to the kind of money the consultants get. And so, again, I've read more articles than I can count, as have you, looking at that $1 billion and what happened to it. And so much of it got siphoned off by consultants. But you ain't got to take my word for it. We recall that Hunter Biden, the former president's son, went off. And he started laying into all the money that the consultants took out of that $1 billion haul. So he, again, had his say, and people remember that some months ago when he sort of went off. So just talk to me about this one last question on this money piece about the consultants and the massive amount of money they take when this money's raised.
Yeah, I mean, listen, political consultants, it's part of an industry. It's
I'm in
industry,
the wrong business, Jamie. I'm in the wrong business, man. I need to be a political consultant.
Well, and particularly, let me drill down even more.
Sure.
Because, I mean, listen, right now I'm helping and consulting with some campaigns, but it is really, Tavis, the TV folks. I mean, that's where the big margins are.
Right.
And where the big money is actually spent. And the problem is we don't have very many folks that look like you and me that are in the TV political consulting class.
I got you.
And you don't have very many folks that look like you and me that are in the polling class. I mean, you got Cornell and
a few others. Sure. We should on this program. You should say Cornell Belcher, not Cornell West. You mean Cornell Belcher?
Yes.
I know what you mean. Cornell West is a regular contributor, so when you say Cornell around here, they think Cornell West. He's a consultant. No, not Dr. West. Cornell Belcher is who we're talking about. Anyway, go ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Oh, and so you got a few others, but part of what we got to shift and change up is making sure that we make gains in having some folks who represent our communities in those spaces as well.
Yeah.
Because then they make different choices about how they spend money, and they make sure that those resources are actually spent in our communities and with Black media and the like. Roland Martin and I have had a number of conversations about this. And you and I are having a conversation about it right now. But it is, even if, for me, as someone who chaired the party, in the end of the day, there was very little control that I had once the presidential campaign was running full force in terms of dictating where resources were going. Hell, it got to the point where I had to beg for money for my own chairman's bus tour, even though I'm raising millions of dollars into the DNC. And so there needs to be some structural reforms and changes. Ken has brought me back onto the DNC. They made a rules change so that the previous chair came back as a DNC member. And I'm going to suggest some things that we change within the organization before we get into the 2028 race to give the chair a little more say in terms of where things are going. And so that then there's some accountability. It's not just this dark consultant space, but people know who can really has a say in determining where those resources are going. Because for far too long, you get some campaign staff who isn't elected to anything, but is making real big decisions about where the resources are flowing.
What Jamie is basically saying, for those who aren't as into these politics as we are, is that once a presidential nominee is in full effect, the DNC basically takes a back seat. It's the campaign of the nominee that makes all the decisions about how the money is going to be spent, essentially. So the DNC sort of takes a back seat, and the campaign sort of takes over. And that's what he was suggesting a moment ago about one of the rules changes that he would like to see instituted. That said, my final question, I think, on this postmortem is simply this. You and I have discussed this many times before, but I happen to be a young friend of the late, great Ron Brown. Ron Brown becomes the first African-American to be the chair of the DNC. And along with those rule changes that Jesse Jackson Sr. forced, changing the game from winner-take-all to proportional voting. As I've said many times, that opens the door years later for a guy named Barack Hussein Obama to defeat Hillary Clinton. If the rules don't change, Obama ain't the nominee. So Ron Brown did some amazing work, and Jesse Jackson Sr. and others did some amazing work to sort of transform the DNC as we knew it then, speaking of rule changes. And I just want to offer this as my final question on this. How do you, as a black man, your joke earlier, notwithstanding about not wanting to leave the party with no money in the bank when you left, I get that part. But how do you respond to the criticism of you, or criticism that your leadership was failed because the campaign of Kamala Harris didn't win? How do you not take any of that stuff personally?
It's hard, Tavis, when you pour your whole self into it. I mean, over the course of 2024, I probably visited almost 35 states. Rarely home. So much so, my son joked at me and he said, "Well, Daddy, you going again?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, when you get back, I don't know if I'm going to recognize you." And it's it's partly because I knew what was at stake, and I tried to do everything in my power in order to really make sure that Kamala, and not just Kamala is our nominee, but Democrats up and down the ballot could win. And it was a mixed bag. There was some success. We were able to have some big victories. I mean, you take a look at North Carolina. Tavis, we won every major race in North Carolina: governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, superintendent of public instruction. We even won a Supreme Court race. The only race we did not win was the presidency.
Sure.
And so it tells you that there's something had to have gone right in that state, and then something went wrong. And so that's part of what we're trying to really figure out. Like, how can you win all of those down ballot races? Because it tends to happen in politics that whatever happens on that top of the ticket, it flows down all the way. How can you win the Senate seat in Michigan and in Arizona and in Nevada and in Wisconsin, but lose the presidential in all of those states as well? Again, there's something went wrong, and so we really have to figure that out as a party. And I'm committed. I really look back to President Carter's legacy, that he was a better former president than he was a president. And my hope is to be a better former party chair than I was a chair, to really focus on rebuilding the Democratic Party all over the country and not just in the 7 or 8 battleground states that we currently pay all of the attention to.
A couple things right quick, and we'll come forward, Jaime Harrison, for the rest of the hour. You mentioned Jimmy Carter and the story he just told, or the comparison he just made to wanting to be a great ex-DNC chair. Jimmy Carter was my friend. I interviewed him many, many times, and when he passed away, I played some of my favorite conversations with him on this program. And I don't know what gave me the nerve to do this, but one day I asked him to his face on the set one day, Jamie, how he responded to people who think that he is the best ex-president we've ever had. And he that right eyebrow raised up. He said, "Did Tavis just ask me that question about being the greatest ex-president we've ever had?" And he gave his answer and laid out what he thought he accomplished during his administration. But he received the compliment, but it was a strange question for him to be asked face to face, but he wrestled with it. One could say, in response to your question about how you win down ballot, but you don't win the top tier race, that being the office of presidency, one could argue you got the wrong nominee. I mean, that's a debate that will rage for years about whether or not Kamala Harris, or for that matter, had Joe Biden not stepped aside, whether they're the right nominees. But the flip side of that, though, is, which I thought you were going to mention, because I know you said it before. I've heard you say it before. The flip side is that this is not the blowout that the media has framed it as. And I think in the years to come, not that it matters, but I think it does on some level, the historians will get this right. This was not a blowout. If you had, literally in a number of districts, had the vote change, The Nation magazine did the best research on this. I think the number is about 150. If 150,000 votes had swung differently in key districts, Donald Trump wouldn't have been president. So this race is far closer than people say it was, because you see all that red on the map on that night. So it was not the blowout that, again, it's been framed as. But when we come forward, though, I do want to talk one other question for Jamie about the path forward. That's my postmortem, done with that. But Democrats have won some big victories here of late. We mentioned earlier Virginia and New Jersey, and here in California and around the country, Democrats have won some major races. What does that portend for him? Can Democrats take back the House, maybe even the Senate come the midterms? How's Jamie seeing that? We'll get a response to that and spend some time talking about the work he's doing now. Talk, of course, about Donald Trump and more. You're listening to the former chair of the DNC, Jaime Harrison, right now on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White House Border-Czar Tom Homan is defending the immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. On CNN's State of the Union, Homan dismissed claims it targets Somali immigrants.
There's in numerous countries that President Trump, is looking at everybody that came from these countries, make sure they're vetted properly. Some of these countries don't have the proper systems in place to totally vet somebody.
This follows President Trump saying Somali immigrants have ruined Minnesota. HBCU Southern University's Alpha Phi Alpha chapter in Baton Rouge, Louisiana is back in action. The fraternity was cleared of hazing allegations after an investigation found no violations, lifting a cease and desist order issued in October. And the estate of Notorious B.I.G. is denying claims in Netflix's new docuseries on Sean Diddy Combs. A former manager, Wayne Barrow, says the allegations that Biggie's record company paid for his funeral and not Sean Combs are false and disrespectful. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A weird game at SoFi Stadium last night, but the Chargers hung on and got the W. They beat Philadelphia 22-19 in overtime, a game that had 8 turnovers. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was sacked 7 times. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts had 4 interceptions. The last one ended a potential game-winning drive in overtime at the 1-yard line. The Chargers are 9-4. HBCU Florida A&M is looking for a new head football coach. James Cozy was fired Monday. Cozy was 12-12 in 2 seasons, including 5-7 this year. Gotta give a shout out to my alma mater, Illinois State University. The football team is coming to California this weekend to play UC Davis Saturday in the quarterfinals of the Division I AA playoffs. We're coming to Cali after knocking off the #1 team in the nation, undefeated North Dakota State, 29-28. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. The progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Jaime Harrison, former DNC chair, host of his own YouTube and podcast, YouTube show and podcast called At Our Table. We'll talk about that. One final question, Jaime, on this matter. We've sort of done our post-mortem. First of all, let me just start by saying I appreciate this. I know that, after an election like the one we had last November, everybody asked questions about what happened. And I know you're probably sick of those conversations a year later now, but I'm glad that you gave me a half hour to just for this audience to just sort of get your perspective as the brother who was running the DNC during that period. I'm grateful for you being so kind and generous to answer all those questions. So that said, here we are in 2025. Democrats again won some major races not too long ago here. And there is a sense that, Democrats are finding a spine, that the people are sick of Donald Trump, whether it's to No Kings rallies or all the other things that I can mention that you and I talk about all the time on our various programs. How are you feeling now about Democrats' chances come the midterms? I know that's still a year away, but how are you feeling at this moment? I'll pull this tape out next November, Jaime, and see if you were right.
Well, I actually wrote a Substack about this a few months ago, Tavis. Mm-hmm. I was the executive director of the House Dem Caucus back in 2006, because in many ways, history leaves echoes, and I believe that this election cycle is reminding me of that 2006 election cycle. And I just want everybody to go back a little bit in the Wayback Machine. Mm-hmm. We remember what happened in 2004. George W. Bush won re-election, beat John Kerry. Democrats lost all of these U.S. Senate races across the South. The only Senate race that we won that year that was notable was Barack Obama in Illinois. Mm-hmm. And the newspapers were writing the same thing that they're writing now and the same things that they're saying now in the obituaries of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party's dead because of that election, Republicans solidified the majorities in the House and the Senate. They had the White House. And a lot of things started happening. You got Republican overreach. George W. Bush tried to privatize Social Security. That was an overreach. That's not part of the mandate that he had, but he tried to do it. We see with Donald Trump this overreach in terms of this big, beautiful bill. We see with the ICE. As a result of that overreach, you get angst amongst the American public. There's also that culture of corruption that was corrosive throughout Washington, D.C. We see that right now. Just look at all of these Trump pardons and all these things that he's doing with the Justice Department and the FBI. Mm-hmm. And then you saw an increased investment on the ground organizing in our state parties. And to Ken Martin's credit, he's adding on to what I did for 4 years, and he's adding even more to that. I think with all of those elements, they're very similar to 2006. I think that 2026 will be an echo of 06. And as a result, in 2006, Democrats flipped 31 seats. And Tavis, we didn't just flip marginal seats. We went deep into the Republicans' bag. We won seats that were R plus 15, R plus 11, R plus 12 Republican seats because that wave was massive in 06. And people didn't think we were going to win the Senate majority back in 06, but we ended up squeaking out a majority in the Senate in 06 as well, which then led to the big 2008 election where we took back the White House and solidified even more so our majorities in the House and Senate. I think we're at the cusp of very similar dynamics. And so I'm bullish on thinking we're going to take back the House, and possibly even the Senate if all of the cards line up right.
You think the House more so than the Senate, though? The Democrats can
House more so than the Senate.
Yeah,
definitely. I think Hakeem Jeffries will be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah. And as a black man who did something pretty extraordinary yourself, becoming the chair of the DNC, how do you read that moment that we might be hurtling toward inexorably when we will, in fact, have a black man as the Speaker of the House? How you just processing what might be?
And it gives me goosebumps, Tavis. It really does. Because Hakeem's a good guy. He's a really good guy, and he gets a lot of crap. Everybody wants him to do this and wants to do that. But in the end of the day, you got to have a finger on the pulse of a very diverse caucus. That means you can't be loud and screaming one way and doing all these other things. You got to be a measured hand for that caucus to keep them unified. And if you want to measure how successful somebody is, look at how unified they keep their caucuses in very, very hard times.
Yeah.
Hakeem in this year has been an effective leader in terms of keeping that Democratic caucus focused and unified as it relates to those votes on the floor of the House.
Yep. So you were in the center of the ring last year leading up to Election Day. You were at the Democratic Convention, of course. I saw you there in Chicago as the chair. You were there the night that debate went down that sort of shipwrecked Joe Biden's chances. You were in the center of the ring when the baton was passed to Kamala. You were in the center of the ring throughout all of this. And no naivete here, but I want to just take your temperature on this. Did you at any point in time, even as you and other Democrats were advancing that line repeatedly, that Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy? That was on the Democratic playbook, and everybody uttered that line time and time again. He is an existential threat to this democracy. So, there are many of us who understood that and bought that and believed that. But did you expect, honestly, anything like what he's been doing?
No. Tavis, I expected disaster, but not to the extent. Listen, I live in hurricane country here in South Carolina. And so, you've experienced, category 2, category 3, but to see a category 5 and the devastation that comes from that. Donald Trump in this 1 year, we haven't even gotten a full year yet, has created more damage to America than I think all of the presidencies that I've seen in my lifetime. In terms of, you think about the bad things that may have happened under Reagan, or the bad things that may have happened under George W. Bush or H.W. Walker, right? This guy has been an unmitigated disaster. You look at the ICE and on the ICE raids. You look at, even look at USAID, the gutting of USAID. I just had an episode that just aired today with Rachel Maddow, and we talked about the devastation to PEPFAR and what Rubio and Trump have done to that. She mentioned in that interview, Tavis, that we were about 1 year from saying that the HIV crisis globally was almost nil.
And let's give him credit. Let's get him credit. You mentioned his name a moment ago.
George W. Bush.
There you go. He's the one guy. That's the one thing that George W. Bush got right. That PEPFAR program, saving lives in Africa.
She said the exact same thing.
Sure. Yeah, he got that right.
And she said, under the Biden administration, Biden added even more resources to accelerate the good work that we've been doing as a nation on this. But all of that has been pretty much wiped out under Donald Trump. And I as a dad of a kid that has special needs, and I think about how they are destroying the Department of Education, the protection of IDEA, for those who have disabilities in this country. It's just galling to see what they're doing right now in terms of vaccines, and the impact, the long-term impact that's going to have on the livelihood of kids, babies now, but adults in the future. It's unprecedented. And so I never imagined, and what I knew that the capacity was there with Trump. What I never imagined was a Congress that has just been so limp, so feckless, particularly the Republicans in Congress, to stand up and to say, you know what, that's not right, and we're not going.
Yeah.
We can't stand with that.
He was at the table as chair of the DNC, and now he's hosting his own program called At Our Table. It's a YouTube show and a podcast. You heard him mention Rachel Maddow. He's dropping names. I'm picking them up. He mentioned Rachel Maddow. We'll talk when we come forward about his work now on my side of the table, as it were. You're listening to Jaime Harrison on Tavis Smiley.
California to the Carolinas. Everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
I got the champagne. Everybody's glass.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu, the daytime coughing, aching fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Jaime Harrison, former DNC chair, and now host of his own YouTube show and podcast called At Our Table. Tell me, Jaime, about At Our Table.
Well, Tavis, I am so excited about At Our Table. I've really enjoyed doing this. I launched right after my time as DNC chair, and it's really about real conversations. I got so tired, Tavis, of just our candidates, Democrats in general, do the 2 or 3 minute hit on CNN or MSNBC, and you become a caricature of yourself. You really don't get an opportunity to showcase who you are, what your values are, or to talk about anything of substance about yourself. And I wanted a forum where folks, particularly on my side of the aisle, could come and sit and have a real conversation. No talking points, but about who they are. What are their values? What makes them real? What are they passionate about? And so that's what it's all about. It's about having conversations with heartbeat. The name, people ask, well, why the name At Our Table? And it comes from I was raised by my grandparents, and that Sunday dinner table, you come to our table, those are where the real conversations were had. And so they would be passionate, they would be funny sometimes, they'd be emotional sometimes. And sometimes, my grandfather would say you got too big for your britches and you just need to sit your ass down. But all of that happened at the table. And so that's where the name came from. And that's the type of conversations that we've been having these past few weeks.
How's it feel to be the person asking the questions as opposed to being the person queried?
I've actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It really it's been fun and it's been different. And I've just, many of these folks I've known for a long time. I had a great conversation with the Colored Girls, who Mignon Moore and Leah Daughtry and a bunch of them. Donna wasn't there for the conversation.
Was Yolanda? Did Yolanda make it? Yolanda, was she there?
Yolanda was there.
Yeah.
It was such a good conversation, and we talked about some of the reforms at the DNC because of Jesse Jackson and Ron Brown. And so, as somebody who was DNC chair, to get that perspective and to hear the history behind it was so good. And so many people afterwards said, Jamie, I love that conversation. I had another conversation recently with my mentor, my political dad, Jim Clyburn, and we're talking about his new book, The First Eight.
I love that. I love that. He came on here. I love that book. I mean, it's an amazing book.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. The history there, yeah.
The history of it, Tavis, and it is so relevant to the moment that we're in right now. Are we on the verge of the second Reconstruction, right? And post Reconstruction, where is going to take, given what the Supreme Court decides on the Voting Rights Act, will it be another, and they wipe out all these black seats across the South, will it be another 100 years before we get black representation in Congress? I mean, all of that is so salient to where we are right now. And that history is so important for folks to know. And that's why I decided to create this thing. I had a black and Latino men talking about the Democratic Party and the things that we need to do there. So these have been really great conversations. I've enjoyed them immensely. I've learned a lot from them, and I hope the audience will as well. So, folks, go to aotpodcast.com if you want to subscribe. But it's been a really a lot of fun. And between us, Tavis, I am sitting down with Kamala Harris very soon. She will be at our table, so I'm excited about that conversation.
I will send you some questions. Not that you need them, but I'll send you some. It's called At Our Table. It's aotpodcast.com, aotpodcast.com. And again, if you did not hear James Clyburn on this program, go to our podcast, go to Jamie's podcast. I'm sure both conversations are pretty amazing. But it's one of my favorite books of the year, this history of these black congressmen that appeared before Clyburn ever showed up, that made it possible for him and others to be serving in Congress right now. And again, as Jamie mentioned, the precipice that we find ourselves on with regard to the future of black leadership in Congress. Powerful book by James Clyburn. I'll get the name of that for you when we come forward. I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but I'll give it to you in our remaining moments with Jaime Harrison. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the Current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
All you have to do is download the app, see if you qualify. $750. Boom.
You think I should call her back?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Get ahead with Current. Text ACTION to 323232 to sign up today. That's ACTION to 323232. ACTION to 323232. ACTION to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by Fineco Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Jaime Harrison got 2.5 minutes here. I wasn't that far off. The book is called The First Eight. It's called The First Eight, A Personal History of the Pioneering Black Congressman Who Shaped a Nation by James Clyburn. I highly recommend it. One of my favorite books of the year, and I think Jamie would agree with that. Again, it's called The First Eight, A Personal History of the Pioneering Black Congressman Who Shaped a Nation by Congressman James Clyburn. I got 90 seconds left. I will yield it to the gentleman from at our table. I'm looking at all kind of questions and comments from listeners right now, and I think I want to sum it up with this exit question. This sums up a lot of what I'm reading. Given what you now know, anything that you or the party or the candidate could have done differently that might have resulted in a different outcome, or as my friend Leonard Pitts Jr. on this program yesterday essentially argues, America just wanted a racist as president, and that's what they got.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There was one reason, Tavis, why we didn't win. I think it was a lot of small reasons that all culminated into the end result, right? Yeah. There were some people who didn't vote for her because she was a woman. There were some people who didn't vote for her because she was black. There was some who didn't vote for her because they didn't agree with the policy. And it was enough, as you mentioned, just a little bit in some of these districts. Yeah. It would have been a whole different result. And so it's like that death by 1,000 cuts. Mm-hmm. And you know, I know she wished she had more time. I wish we had more time to really showcase her to the American people. But
you think more time would have made a difference?
It could have. Yeah. You know, I think some different strategies. I did not like, and I'm going to talk with her about it, how the energy that she had going into the convention and at the convention, how the strategy changed, because it was a different Kamala that came out of that, right? Her team pulled her back from the media interviews. They pulled the reins back on Tim Walz. You know, he had so much fun, and it was joy, and it was emotion, right? But positive, hopeful emotion. Yeah. But we started playing prevent defense, and you know, you and I watch enough football to know that prevent defense never wins.
I look forward to hearing your conversation with her when she comes on your program. Again, his own YouTube show and podcast is called At Our Table. You can get it at AOTpodcast.com. That's AOTpodcast.com. He's the former chair of the DNC, Jaime Harrison, who's always been kind, in office or out of office, to accept our phone calls and to come on this program when we invite him. And for that, Jaime, I remain grateful. And thank you once again for this conversation today.
Thank you, my friend. You take care of yourself.
Stay strong, brother. 1 hour down, 2 more to go. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. White House Border Czar Tom Homan is defending the immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. On CNN's State of the Union, Homan dismissed claims it targets Somali immigrants.
There's in numerous countries that President Trump, is looking at everybody that came from these countries, make sure they're vetted properly. Some of these countries don't have the proper systems in place to totally vet somebody.
This follows President Trump's